Welcome, everybody, to the Two Goalies, One Mic pregame show brought to you by Fatty Beer. Make sure you get over to Fatty Beer. Tell the boys from Two Goalies, One Mic sent you. 7 Western New York locations with over 300 beers to choose from. Buffalo's premier tap room for all of your craft beer choices. And, of course, they are both kid and dog friendly. I am joined by, you might know him from Instagram and Twitch. I know him personally from a devastating Chicklets Cup defeat here in Buffalo just over a month ago. Stefano Cantali. Cantali?
Cantali, yes.
Cantali. I just want to make sure I didn't butcher that. Former Mercyhurst goaltender, just overall beaut. Stefano, how are you tonight, bud? Thanks for hopping on. I know we've been talking about this for a little bit, but I appreciate you being patient with me, bud.
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on. I've been looking forward to this. I haven't had a chance to talk with another goalie.
Really?
I've never had I've been on podcasts with players, coaches, never with another goalie.
Really? Yeah. Well, we started off a little over 3 years ago. It was more of a goalie centric podcast. We still, we still do that, but obviously we're here in Buffalo. We stay Sabres centric as well. So, but it's a city that has been without in net for quite some time. Many would say probably since Ryan Miller left via trade to the St. Louis Blues over a decade ago. And then, before that, we had Dominik Hasek, of course, greatest of all time. You might argue differently, but and then the bridge between them two was, fellow Montrealian. I don't know how or Quebecian, Marty Biron.
Yeah, I mean, Biron is hard. Biron is hard to put in between the two of them. Those two are, I think, a couple steps ahead of him for sure. Hasek and Miller are Hall of Fame goalies, in my opinion. No, eyes closed. Nobody can argue that. But I think you guys have a superstar in the next couple of years. Somebody that's going to take over the league.
You think Devin Levi's the truth, huh?
100%. 100%. Coming from Montreal, I've seen him skate. This kid's got something special.
Well, I don't know if you've seen this. He's promoting now a VR type of training. Ice Sense, is it called?
Sense Arena? Ice Sense?
Sense Arena? Oh, yeah, sorry. Sense Arena, yes. He's been promoted it the last couple of weeks. I read something even before that's how he, has been developing in the off season is, VR training. I never thought it was a joke, but I've never seen that before. And then I firsthand got to look at it on social media, and it looks pretty cool. I think it's a good way for goalies to stay on top of their game, especially in the off season, or instead of sit on the couch at home, watching hockey, or even in between periods, pop on ice or Sense Arena or whatever it's called, and you'll go take some pucks.
I've used it. It is a really, really cool tool, and it's been advancing. The last time I used it was a couple of years ago, so it was not as defined and in-depth it is now. But I can promise you that it does have that exact feeling. You get home, it's just put it on. You're missing the real-life aspect of, okay, the release can change when the player's moving because it is AI, it is computer-generated. But for hand-eye coordination, for seeing different scenarios, it has it all. So it is a great way to learn and understand the game as a goalie.
Especially at a very young age where it helps you with the mechanics, the beginner mechanics,
yes.
Head to puck, head to blocker. It forces you to do that. You know what I mean? Rather than just going like this or trying to look fancy with a windmill save or a block. You know what I mean? It makes you go like that.
Exactly. Think about it as a kid, how many practices we did just to go over the same reps, but now you can do it at home for 6 hours a day. You're getting in that much more practice without paying for the coach, without waiting for ice time. So if you start using it at a young age, you'll be so much more ahead than any other goalie that's not using this thing.
Yeah, I personally wish I would have had it. The one game I used to play, I would have somebody drop cards from a deck of cards over the top of my head, and I would just, because they just go all over the place, and just try and catch it with my hand, or at least attempt to. But that was my eye-hand coordination. Or you get those special glasses while you're on the ice that really takes away your peripherals, and you have to move your head with the puck.
So I made my own glasses. I bought construction worker glasses. I took painter's tape, and I used to cover parts of the glasses with the painter's tape. And then at home, I'd throw the lacrosse ball off the wall and catch it. I had to stop when I put the ball through the wall. My dad wasn't happy with that. But for a long time, that was my trick.
One of the worst things I ever heard was when I first like kind of, came out of competitive hockey and started coaching. And I went to obviously our USA Hockey coaching clinics, get level 1, level 2, level 3, and so on and so forth. And I remember this guy who went up there to speak on behalf of goalies. He's never been a goalie. He's never played goalie. And he just tells his story about how like he was just a parent kind of chosen to work with goalies, and he watched some online videos. And I'm not kidding you. He went up there and said with one of his squirt, or was it mite or squirt level goaltenders, put a bucket over his head and shot pucks on him. Yeah.
Why?
Don't know. It's like, oh yeah, it's reflexes. Reflexes. Like, what do you mean reflexes? You can't see. You can't see anything. Like talk about being a Jedi. Like that's the only
what does that do?
Yeah, that was I remember me and a couple other two other goalies that were like kind of sitting next to each other. I'm like, did he really just like openly say that in public? He goes, yeah. I'm like, dude, what do we get ourselves into? Like it was wild. It was wild.
I thought I had a crazy story. That's nuts.
Yeah.
I've done the Goldberg to a goalie.
There might have been a hole in the bucket. I don't know, but there was definitely the majority. Like the point of that story was, yeah, I had a bucket over my goalie's head.
Well, I want to be the parent and going, what is this guy doing to my child?
Yeah, right. Like,
who's paying for that?
I guess like how far the position has come. Like I remember again going to like one of the first ever goalie clinics, like actually just like goalie clinics that they offered. And mind you, I played late 90s, 2000s, like the positions come such a long way since then. Like I didn't even know what RVH or VH, all that stuff was. Like I had no clue. So when I went to this clinic and they started talking about it, that's the first time I ever heard it. I'm like, you know what? That does make sense. It does make, playing on your post so much, more efficient and effective as long as you're, keeping your head tight to the crossbar.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I'm 5'10", 5'11" on a good day. So, I have to like kind of like hype myself up and make sure I'm on top of things. But yeah, that would have been like a nice like way to develop my game early on had I known it back in high school or even before then.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going back on what you just said, I learned what RVH was in junior hockey. I remember I got the juniors and my coach was saying, why are you going one knee down on the post? I said, because it works. That's what I've always done. Literally. And then he showed me that technique. And I remember as I dropped into the technique, I got stuck and I was in so much pain because my hip had never done that before. And I was like, why does anybody do this? I still use the regular one knee down.
Oh, you're straight up Craig Anderson style. I love it.
Oh yeah, either that
Craig
or I'm standing
Anderson,
up.
Man, he's a hybrid. He does what he wants.
And I'm like, I'm coaching junior goalies. I'll show them the RVH. They love it, but it's just I can see them destroying their hip.
Well, here's the thing with me with the RVH is it's effective in tight.
Yes.
In tight, below the dots, it's effective. From outside the perimeter, when you see it, like, what are you doing? Like, why? Stay on your feet. Like
I get so aggravated.
Not only are you just taking yourself out of position, especially at that level in the NHL, because goalies do it in the NHL too all the time for no reason at all. Mm-hmm. And it drives me absolutely nuts. Imagine a guy like Devin Levi doing that from, a guy with a like tonight, Kaprizov, 30 feet out. You know what I mean? Like getting on your yard, like for what reason? A guy his size, like you're just begging him to go top corner on you. Whereas, if you stay on your feet, make the easy save, take away the exhaustion. At my age, 36, it is exhausting going down and getting back up.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't understand it, man. In certain situations, it's very effective, but I feel like it's misused constantly.
Oh, absolutely. They see the pro guys do it, and it's like, oh, let me do this.
Yeah.
He's 6 foot. You see Vasilevsky do it. He's 6'6". Let him do what he wants. Ben Bishop. But when you're 5'11", like most kids, you can't be doing that.
No.
And I have fun when I go coach. I will let them sit in RVH, and from the corner, I'll just pick them. And every time I do, they have to do down and back, all the way down the ice and back. Yeah. And it gets to the point where one of my goalies last year, he got picked 3 times out in the same game. The Monday practice, I told him, I said, you're going to go in RVH. I'm going to get 10 pucks. If I go score 6, you have to go down and back in a power push twice.
I'm a big VH guy on my glove side.
Yes, like it's so comfortable. Yes,
I like the VH.
It's so comfortable.
Yeah, like literally just get up on that one knee, keep your glove like tight to your helmet. I'm a big VH guy.
At this age, I'm a big not going on my knees guy. I play
Yeah.
forward as much as I can. I avoid going in net. Today's the first time I'm going in net in 3 months.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely terrified.
Yeah, I mean, you were an absolute stud at the Chicklets Cup. I won't lie. Like that first game, I think we lost 5-3. Was it 5-3?
Yeah, I think
we
so.
lost by 2. It was either 5-3 or 7-5. I remember because I had one of the lone goals on you. So
I know. I was upset. I let in a lot of
but,
bad goals that
no,
tournament.
yeah, I remember just like that tournament. I mean, in general, like I hear whispers that they're going to bring it back to Buffalo again. Hope you guys come back again because I thought that was a blast.
I had a blast. Look, it's my first ever Chicklets Cup, my second ever roller tournament. I'm still new to roller. I love it. It's a different
You were on
battle.
skates, right?
Yeah. I refuse to play on shoes. If I get a puck in the toe, it's over.
I won't lie. I used to play on skates. I don't play roller goalie at all anymore. I won't do it. It's too much on my hips and my knees. Making the transition back and forth between ice and roller, I just won't do it.
To be honest with you, if I come back next year, I want to play goalie one team, forward on another. Just switch back and forth and play. I feel like I can because I play forward twice a week in rec leagues. Like I know how to play. But I do wish we played in the A division. I wanted a little more competition, but our team nobody had ever played a roller tournament before, so we didn't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think you guys admitted even like at the Sabres game, like, yeah, we should probably be an A. Like I thought that first game we put up a decent fight against you guys. Mind you, like the majority, there was some with our team, there was a lot of shenanigans with how that team was put together. And I won't talk about it on air because it involves one of our players. And, not too many people were happy with them. And this isn't against any of the guys in the team, like at all. Like there were some good players in that team. But I feel like as good as some of these guys were as individuals, we just weren't the right fit for each other. The team we had last session was much more of a fluid team that had much more chemistry. Whereas this year it was more or less like, and again, I won't get into it, but it was just kind of thrown together by one individual in particular.
Well, I mean, of all the teams we played, you guys gave us the hardest challenge. That first period, you stayed in our zone the whole time. We got maybe 2 shots on your goalie.
Yeah, that was rough that first period too. With the
corner.
I was the one that unfortunately had to find out about the floor behind the net.
All I saw,
I went right down.
I was daydreaming. I was looking up, and then I hear everybody freaking out. I look in the corners, 3 guys on the floor. I was like, "What just happened? Like, what did I miss?"
It's like, what division did I sign up for?
Basically, I was like, "Do you guys know how to skate?"
Oh yeah, like dude, the second you hit that corner, you were eating it. Like there's no way around it. It sucked. But we made it work. Unfortunately, couldn't play full ice because that's it. Like, that's the advantage of I think you guys maybe mentioned it too. Is we had a little more 1 year's experience with the Chicklets Cup. I don't think you guys realize you get scored on, you immediately go right back up the other way. And
did you see what happened to me in Game 3?
No, what happened?
Because I didn't even realize. I kept forgetting that you get scored on, they go right away.
Yeah.
And I have a superstition after goals. I'm a goalie that I have to skate to the corner and back. I didn't realize that the guy was coming down the ice. I was in the corner. So he gets to the red line, sees I'm not in net. He's about to crank. I start to dive head first, hoping it'll hit me in the face. And then thank God he fanned on his shot and fell. But everyone was looking at me like, what are you doing? It's like, I completely forgot there's no face off.
Yeah. Well, you're just in your own, it's a routine. You know what I mean? You see goalies, like I think it was Lundqvist. You ever see a thing with Lundqvist, how Lundqvist comes off the bench for warm-ups? He does literally step by step, the exact same thing every game, how he shoots the puck, how he curls around the net. Like it's literally methodical every single game. And you're the same way.
It's crazy how normal it feels though. And when you don't do it, you're like, I forgot to do something.
It is. It's about getting into routine. Like I've always said, two of the toughest positions mentally in all of sports are goalies and pitching. Because the game can be won and lost in 5 minutes in the first period or the very first inning of the game. A pitcher can give up 7 runs in the first inning, or a goalie can give up four goals on 6 shots, and it's just a hole it's almost impossible to climb out of.
Yep. Well, wasn't it Tampa yesterday that got scored 4 goals in like 10 shots or 12 shots?
Yeah, it was nuts.
I was like, well, game over. It's over.
Yeah, game over. Yeah. How about the toilet bowl last night between the Sharks and Edmonton? I can't believe how bad Edmonton has been this year. Dude, they're
don't
like
get it.
14 points behind. I forget which team it was in the Pacific, but it's nuts.
And to make it worse, it's the first year that in my hockey pool I get first pick overall, and then I traded to get the second overall pick, so I got McDavid and Draisaitl, and they're
They'll
both
figure it out. I mean,
useless.
that's still two good picks to have. They're gonna figure it out. They're still gonna get their points. They're still gonna eat, but like
I hope so, because if I lose with those two, I'm gonna become a soccer fan, and that's it. I'm watching soccer from now on.
Yeah,
It's
literally,
over.
that's nuts. Like that's absolutely wild. But to get to tonight's game, Buffalo coming off a overtime loss against the Carolina Hurricanes earlier this week, go into Minnesota against Philip Gustafsson, who probably isn't having the start to a season that he probably wanted. I think Fleury has been probably, the more consistent guy. We've seen a lot of that toe save from the other night was unreal.
I love
like
it.
classic Fleury.
I hate that he's done this year. I hate it.
You think did he say it's his last year?
Unofficially, it's over for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always said in the offseason, like that's a guy I would love to be 1A, 1B with Devin Levi. Like, could you imagine just the connection with Montreal, just, everything Fleury has to offer to anybody as a rookie.
It's funny you say that because I was practicing. So my old goalie coach is Marco Marciano, who's the goalie coach for Laval Rockets. And now he's my mentor as a coach. He's helping me learn how to teach kids properly. And we were talking one day at practice, and we were talking about Fleury, and he goes, "Yeah, he didn't come back this summer." He goes, "I was sad, like I didn't get to skate with him this summer because he's been skating with him for the last 12 years." And he was saying, he goes, "It'd be so cool if him and Levi ended up together. The French connection." He goes, "The two of them, I think, would be a scary duo in the league." So it's kind of funny you're bringing that up.
Yeah, me and Connor, my normal co-host, like we talked about it a lot this offseason. Like if I could pick any goalie to go 1-1, it'd be him.
Yeah,
it'd be him because like I think this first maybe year or two, you could see him being like maybe a 41 game split with whoever he's playing with, or maybe get slightly over half the season. But after that, man, it's his net. And I would rather have somebody there who is okay with showing him the way rather than, and I'm a fan of internal competition, but not a guy who isn't going to take the position he's been asked of seriously. Like you're here to mentor.
You see, my thing, and I think that 41 is too many games. And let me break that down for you, just because you look at Levi over the years. The kid has dominated every year since he started junior hockey. In midget, he was a very strong goalie.
CCHL, yeah.
Even when he was playing midget AAA, he was a strong goalie. He never had a great team in front of him, and he carried them. So he succeeds in front of difficult situations. In CCHL, he was in the best team in the country. Carleton Place is another level. Jason Clark, scariest coach to play versus, scariest coach to play for, but he's great at his job. Junior Lions before that, and then Northeast afterwards. He's always been in a situation where he needs to stand on his head to perform. And then if you give him the net right now, I don't think it's good for his development. You need somebody where they'll play 55 games, give him 30 the first year, 40 the year after, and then let him take the spot. Yeah. Because, like, I'm sure any goalie that just walks in and has the job, it's not the same as trying to earn it. It's not the same confidence-wise or anything.
I'm a big advocate of internal competition. When you're as an athlete, not even as a goalie, but just as an athlete, when you're pushed up against a wall, when your back is against the wall, you really find out what type of a player or what type of athlete a person is. Like, do they sink or swim? And I personally think, obviously, I think we've seen enough so far that Devin Levi is a swim guy. He's going to swim. He's not going to sink.
Yeah.
And the same thing with UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, a guy who tore it up in the OHL in junior. Was a human highlight reel, as one of our other co-hosts, Ryan Drury, would say. He calls the games for the Guelph Storm, and he saw a lot of him as a play-by-play guy when he was coming up. And it says, like, I thought that kid was going to be like an absolute superstar, and he still could be, but like a guy who's had double hip surgery, has had some lower body issues. I think his biggest issue has always been upstairs, kind of keeping it together. Not to the level of, say, like a Jack Campbell, who I hate seeing him struggle right now. I really, really do.
Yeah.
Because he's such a nice guy.
I love him as a goalie. 100%. But going back to I can't even say his name because it confuses me every time. Uko, I can't say it.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
That one. I think him and Levi are going to be a 10 times better Allmark and Swayman situation in
You
5
think so?
years. In 5 years, I think so. Levi as 1A, Pekka as 1B, and a kind of like a 45-37 roughly split. I think they're that much better. I honestly think Levi in the next 5 years, even 3, is a top 3 goalie in the league. Because there's nobody in the league that is his level advanced in terms of mental toughness, mental strength. Like you could see by his routine that he meditates in between whistles. When you're going to a game, you don't see it on TV, but he sits in front of his net. He's meditating. What other is doing that?
Literally nobody. We talked about it before we went live. Like we saw it with Ryan Miller here before him, years before him, where he would come out on the bench and just kind of stand there with a stick underneath his chin and just. He said he would visualize the game, just visualize how it would play out in his head. And he would sit there for like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And that was his routine.
Yeah.
Goalies are weird.
I'm excited to see what Levi does. I'm a strong advocate for him. I haven't gotten to know him very well personally. A lot of my friends have. I've skated with him a few times. Unbelievable since the first time I saw him. I like that he's on the shorter end, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, he's like 5'11", so it's just around 6 foot.
It lies and says 6'6" but he's 5'11". I'm excited to see what he does. Really am.
He's actually been on this pod with us. He came on the week before he decided to go back to Northeastern for one more year.
Okay.
It was actually him and his best friend Justin Ritskowian were on the pod with us. Ritzy, also now the captain over at Northeastern. And like the way he spoke about the position. Like everything was so analytical with him, the way he looked at the game, just so methodical, just like, again, I hate to bring his name again. It reminded me so much of the way Ryan Miller would talk about every single game during a post-game interview, how he broke things down. Like it was almost like you were talking to a forward. He knows everything about the game and how it's supposed to be played and how it's played in front of him. And I see the same things in Devin Levi in terms of the mental side of the game, just like the way he sees everything. Like he even said when it comes to his size, he doesn't let it be with the way he plays. And maybe the VR training helps with that. He doesn't let it be, a downfall in the way he plays. It's just, he almost what's the word I'm looking for? It almost feeds him. It almost feeds the animal inside of him when he hears like the criticism about his size. It's like, no, man, I don't let it bother me. Like if you play the game a certain way, if you play it, and again, one of the things with him too is his footwork, his mechanics with his feet are insane. How aggressive he is outside of his paint, and just how he always knows where he is in his net. He's never unaware of where he is, and he knows his surroundings very well. I'm in awe sometimes watching him play. Like the shootout win that won them the Beanpot tournament. Just watching him, how far he got out of his paint, and just watching his feet, how he controlled his depth coming back into his net. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh yeah. You should see one of his practices. I've seen a couple of his summer practices because he skates with Marco Raimondo, a big coach in Montreal. Every detail is perfect. Every rep all the way through practice. Mm-hmm. It blows my mind that somebody could be that consistent with every little detail. And as you know, being a goalie, every little detail matters, and there's hundreds of them to make sure you make that save. It's crazy. You can learn so much just by watching him practice. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like wild, man. And like for me to see a goalie of his size succeed like this, I mean, you got UC Saros too, but like it's nice. It's nice. Like, how tall are you, Stefano?
5'11". I'm a short
5'11". Yeah, we're all 5'11" goalie club.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it's just it's nice, man. It's great. Like, and I hope, and I not just as a Sabres fan, but as a goalie who's 5'11", that this kid is everything that he's been advertised to be. And kind of because how it is with scouting. Like, if you're not at least 6'2", 6'3", they don't even take you seriously anymore.
Oh yeah, 100%. But short kings win.
Exactly, love it. Matthew Savoy making his debut tonight for the Buffalo Sabres after a short an injury. I think it was a lower body injury. Did a rehab stint in Rochester. Played very well, and making his debut tonight. Are you familiar with him at all? I know he's a Winnipeg kid.
A little bit. I've seen a little bit of his numbers. I've seen some of his videos. Obviously, he's got some nice highlight reels. I'm interested to see what he does with the NHL because obviously it's a huge step up from the minors, and he, like you said, he performed really well in Rochester. So I'm curious, will he be given the same opportunity in Buffalo to take on that same role, or are they going to kind of hold him back a bit, especially coming off an injury?
Well, there's a big lack of speed in that bottom six. So depending on where, I haven't seen any lineup, projected lineups in between now and then, because again, it wasn't announced until today that he would be, playing. I think he'd probably be slotted into the third line, which is great because that gives that line some speed. Obviously the fourth line has been on and off again. Peyton Krebs, Kyle Okposo, and Zemgus Girgensons, which I love Oki and I love Z, but they're getting pretty long in the tooth in terms of NHL careers. And, you can tell the lack of foot speed is pretty prevalent. Peyton Krebs, he's an absolute pissant out there, always getting under guys' skins, especially if he's like 190 pounds soaking wet. And he's always one of the first guys in the scrum. But a guy who, I would love to see centering Matthew Savoy, see what he brings to the table, because that's the type of opportunity I think Peyton Krebs has been looking for. Just a guy that he can play with, that has some speed, that has some jam to his game, and that can score. Because there's no reason for Matthew Savoy to go back to junior hockey, in my opinion. He's done everything he's going to do at the junior level. He's 1.5 per game player, if not more. It's just, for me, it makes no sense for him to go back to Rochester to junior. It's because right now with the way I think his birth date is, he would have, and they tried to get an exemption for him, but he would have to go back to the WHL or it's Buffalo. It's the only reason he's in Rochester is because of the rehab assignment.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like he's a player that you can put in any role, even at a young age, and that's why they shouldn't send him back. Because even if you don't see him on your top six yet, like you said, he can fill a lot of holes right now. He can be that third line center with the speed to make sure that they're winning the scrums, to make sure that they're producing some points and helping out that top six. You could put him on the power play. You could put him on the PK. So I'm curious to see what they'll do with him and if they'll use him properly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't wait for Zach Benson to come back from whatever. It's a week-to-week thing from last time I checked, but that was Savoy's line mate in Winnipeg, and I just salivate at the thought of Peyton Krebs between Matthew Savoy and Zach Benson. Just the amount of speed and jam that's going to be on that line it'll be fun to watch.
I feel like that line could outperform the second line, maybe. If you have that as your third line, your 2 and 3 are practically the same.
Yeah, the second line, well, coming into the season, it was supposed to be Dylan Cousins, JJ Peterka, who's been phenomenal this year. Kind of an under the radar guy in the offseason, played fantastic at the World Championships, was the best player in the tournament, and then hasn't missed a step coming into this season. I think he leads the team in goals. And then it's been on and off again, kind of just a revolving door in that other winger spot. There's been Victor Olofsson, who's been absolutely useless, which is disappointing because this was kind of like a make or break year for him. He was healthy scratched for all the important games at the end of last season. He's an RFA. He's looking to get re-signed again, and has one hell of a shot, a very deadly shot from the right side face-off circle. So it's disappointing to see that he's unable to get figured out this year, but normally that is Jack Quinn, JJ Peterka, and Dylan Cousins, who was a phenomenal fast line, again, with a lot of jam in it, with Dylan Cousins willing to get into those dirty areas on the ice, freeing up guys like JJ Peterka and Jack Quinn to make plays. But a third line of Benson, Krebs, and Savoy, that is really interesting to me.
Like I said, they'll probably produce more than the second line at that point. It's these young guns coming up are something else. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I'm not playing goalie anymore because I don't think I could stop a lot of them. To be honest with you, there's something about that they found coming up. I don't know if it's in the water, especially out west. I don't know if it's the new training styles, but the game has changed so much and is so much faster. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. And I'm excited because, again, that bottom six has lacked speed and, maybe an injection of a Matthew Savoy. And we'll see how they treat that situation because they're both allowed 9 games before the Sabres need to make a decision. I think Benson had 4 and before he was hurt, and he had some really nice performances. So I can't imagine. I think Zach Benson, up until the injury, was playing himself in a situation where he was going to make it impossible for Buffalo to send him back. I hope Matthew Savoy does the same because it's a good opportunity for him.
I don't think either of them should go back. Even if you're going to put them on your third line, they are going to be good additions to your team, and they're going to get great experience and development, whereas in juniors, it's going to be too easy for them.
Yeah, I agree. And it's tough. It's a tough decision to be made for the coaching staff. Who are you gonna take out every night? Kyle Okposo would probably be a first choice, but he's your captain. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't healthy you scratch your captain every night. That's the position the Sabres kind of put themselves into. I was fine with him coming back, but and I know it sounds kind of corny, but if you were to bring him back, they should have did like a co-captaincy thing. They did it with Breer and Drury years ago, and it worked pretty well. I thought by having him be the lone C on the team, you put yourself in a situation where even when there's stretches where he's really hurting you because he can't keep up with the play. And trust me, there are areas in the game where he does help, like on the penalty kill. In the defensive zone, he does help. When the puck is already being cycled in the defensive zone, where it's not rather on the rush. But with Okposo, you put yourself in a situation where you can't scratch him now.
But I feel like you need to keep him anyways because a guy like that is just so good to have on the bench.
Oh, valuable for sure.
So even if you're not giving him the ice time he used to have or not giving him that role on the ice, he's more of the bench guy, keeping the team together in the locker room. Whatever it is, you need to have a few of those guys. So I'd have to disagree with you. I wouldn't scratch him. Even he wouldn't be my call. I don't know who they would scratch.
There's Tyson Jost, who's a good, two-way player. He's not going to score a lot of goals, but he's definitely one of the better defensive forwards on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I
remember him.
I see Peyton Krebs' name again, a guy who really hasn't lived up to the expectations of being the centerpiece of that Eichel trade. Initially, it was supposed to be him. It turned out to be Alex Tuck, who's been just a blessing here in Buffalo. Guy who grew up just an hour and a half away. Grew up a huge Sabres fan, so he's been a blessing in that Eichel trade. It was supposed to be Peyton Krebs. I mean, it could still be. Who knows? But I think that he might be one of the guys on the outside looking in once Savoy and Benson, Benson's healthy. Because if you do keep them both around, like I said earlier, internal competition. Let's find out who you really are. Guy who could be the outside looking in.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what the Sabres do this year because they have a lot of good pieces, and I don't want to talk badly against, but it's been a while I haven't seen them be a threat in the NHL.
Oh, right? You're not saying something we don't already know, man.
I know, but I can't talk poorly about it. But
we know.
I feel like they can be a threat very soon if they use their pieces.
They missed the playoffs last year by 1 point.
Yeah.
1 point to Florida, who eventually would go on and be playing the finals. People say, and I'm one of them, Devin Levi starts his NHL career 1 week earlier because he went on that run at the end. The Sabres are in the playoffs. I really don't think I'm out of line even saying that either. So, any predictions for this game? I mean, I'm not sure how much you've watched of either team, but excited to hear your thoughts and any predictions you have for the night.
I mean, I don't want to talk against the Sabres again, but as you know, I am gonna be living in Minnesota soon, so I have to go for the Wild. I have to.
You don't have to, but I mean, I understand why.
I mean, and I also grew up a Fleury fan. I know he's not net, but I grew up a Fleury fan.
Yeah.
I can't go against them. I'm honestly thinking it's a tight game, kind of a 3-2 Wild game. I don't think Levi's not easy to beat. I'm thinking it's going to end by 1. And I have to go 3-2 Wild in this one. Yeah. But it's going to be like a last minute type of goal.
I'm actually obviously I'm going to go 3-1 Buffalo, and I just think that going back to what we talked about, a sink or swing mentality, not that this is some type of competition internally, but it is. Now that it's been kind of announced that we're going to go with the rotating, 1A, 1B back and forth, or maybe go with a hot hand like they did at the end of last year. I think Dev is a type of kid that will thrive underneath that pressure, and I think he's going to play well tonight.
Absolutely.
He played well against Toronto, got the 5-4 win. I mean, you let Austin Matthews do whatever he wanted in your own end. So, I mean, not many goalies. I wouldn't say any goalie was stopping any 3 of the goals that Austin Matthews scored in that game.
No. And I agree with you, but I also, like you said, Gusty's been struggling, and I feel like one of these games he's going to have to snap out of it.
Bounce back.
It might happen tonight, and as you've seen in the past couple of years, when he's hot, he's hot. So if he does snap out of it tonight, it's going to be a good goalie battle.
Absolutely. Just want to remind everybody about our sponsors, Fatty Beer Company. Make sure you get over there. Let them, the boys from Two Goalies, One Mike sent you at under 7 Western New York locations. Over 300 beers to choose from in the premier market and tap room. Check out their downtown locations on the days of Sabres home games. You get Mug Club members get 2-for-1 drafts. So go check them out. And of course, Buffalo Buffalo's premier local sports apparel company. Have a lot of cool stuff, both Bills and Sabres related. If that's your thing, they also have Bisons, Bandits, the whole 9 yards. Go check them out. Go check out the Stefan 316 shirt or the Buffalo Shield NHL Shield ball cap that they have over there available now. So, Stefano, I just want to thank you for hopping on with us, bud. Again, I can't wait to have you on again. 3 goalies, 1 mic, so to speak. You know, it'd be great to have on, especially when Hurls is on with us.
I appreciate it very much. The more goalies, the better, right? That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly.
We are the best ones on the team.
Exactly, and the weirdest, like you said. So, good luck at your game night too, man. First time in 3 months. Go get a W.
Thank you.
Or is it a pickup skate?
It's a pickup game with some buddies. They've never seen me play a net, so I'm curious, do I actually perform and show them what I can do, or do I just kind of go ease into it and not hurt myself? I'm still on the fence about that one.
I would go the latter. So
my wife said the same thing.
Bud, for hopping on with us. This has been Two Goalies, One Mike, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company and Buffalo Logo. Signing off. We will talk to you at the end of the game for I'll Hang Up and Listen. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Every ounce of it, every drop, every taste, on the tip of my tongue, been my nail, bite my thumb.